the same thing with Walt Whitman. Leaves of Grass starts out as 12 poems and 95 pages. By the final edition, before he died, it was 292 poems and 382 pages. Or someone like Vladimir Nabokov, the really wonderful writer of Lolita and a bunch of other books, talks in his memoir, Speak Memory, about his sort of approach to writing and revision. You want to read it for us, Mr. Smith?
I have rewritten, often several times, every word I've ever published. My pencils outlast their erasers.
And so for our modern age, it would be more like my computers outlast their delete buttons, but really embrace this idea of a lot of writing is deleting, a lot of writing is rewriting. And Anne Lamott really puts this in a great way. Read it for us.
For me and most of the other writers I know, writing is not rapturous. In fact, the only way I can get anything written at all is to write really, really shitty first drafts. This is how you end up with good second drafts and terrific third drafts.
And I emphasize this just because it's such a myth about good writing and great artistic achievement in general, that it starts out brilliant the first time. You take a play like Peter Pan. A classic children's story, went through something like 20 drafts. One of the first drafts of Peter Pan didn't have Captain Hook in it. That character that's so important, we think, oh yeah, inevitable that Captain Hook exists. No, in one of the first drafts, he's not there. Or if we take a book like The Grapes of Wrath, some of you may have read this in high school or college. The first draft was 70,000 words, which Steinbeck said, this is terrible, I'm going to toss it. The first title for this book was this, Ms. Hoffman?
La Faire Lettisberg?
Terrible. No one's going to buy that book. Similarly, with George Orwell, has anyone read the book The Last Man in Europe? Yeah, because it wasn't published as The Last Man in Europe. It was published as 1984. Someone said, look, that's a terrible name, Last Man in Europe. We need to switch that. Or one of my favorite examples is The Great Gatsby. This wonder alliterative title started out as Trimalco, which is an allusion to a Roman god, I think. Also then Trimalco in West Egg. And then one of my favorites is The High Bouncing Lover. But then someone sort of wisely said, you know what, we need something better. Or with Sherlock Holmes. Arthur Conan Doyle, when he first starts the character of Sherlock Holmes back in 1887, A Study in Scarlet, when it first came out, before he named him Sherlock, he named him this, Mr. Raymer.
Sharonford?
Sharonford. That was going to be Sherlock Holmes' name. So our common phrase about Sherlock would have been this. You want to read it?
No shit, Sharon.
Yeah. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it as no shit Sherlock.